Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to another year, 2022. Hope everyone had a great holiday and a happy new year. Um, I just wanted to start this year off with the bang. And to be quite honest with you, I'm bringing in a very powerful speaker, someone that I really admire and look up to. And I love watching his podcast because I get so much sound advice, and it's really more so encouragement for me to continue to do the things that I'm doing and continue to want to improve and better myself in order to better my community. So I don't want to even have a long introduction. I will let this man speak for himself, but all the way from Chicago, Illinois, aka Chi-Town, for the people that I do know. Shout out to the Robert Taylor homes that are no longer standing, but I got you. So I got to make sure I look out for you, because if I know Jarrell, you'll kill me. So I'm making sure I shot you out. All right. Well, with no further ado, let me bring in my guest speaker, Mr. HRap B himself, and I'll let him give his introduction.
Hey man, I didn't even know who you were talking about. Powerful speaker. I was like, oh, is it somebody else on the show tonight?
Oh no, man, this is you, man. I totally appreciate this, man. So for my audience, I want to go ahead and let you give a little introduction, a little rundown of yourself.
My name, well, my moniker, my handle is HRap B. My government name is Brian Williams. I'm the son of two Black Panthers, people from the Black Panther Party, self-defense. So it's pretty much in my blood to talk about the things that I talk about, and I just love my people. I love us. Right. I love everything about us. So I'm not one of these people who consistently says what we can't do, because I know we can, because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So right. With that being said, the reason you see so much negativity about our community is because that's what's making noise. I consistently say on my show, stop saying that certain neighborhoods are bad, because you walk outside your house and you see 8, 9, 10 guys doing something nefarious. It's a bad neighborhood, but you've discounted all the other people in the house who just got in the house from work, on their way out from work, laying down after a long day of work. Right. And you got 800, 900 people in the community and 15, 20 people, and you let them be the representative of the community. That's just not smart. Right. So my podcast is a community empowerment podcast, and I give history lessons. I give the reason I give history lessons is because one of my favorite people in history is Marcus Garvey. Yeah. And Marcus Garvey said, what Africans can do, have done, Africans can do. So what I do is at the beginning of the show and in the middle of the show, I highlight something from history. So when you see those things, you'll know, hey, I can do that. And when you look at these things, it'll empower you. It should empower you. It may not empower you today. And I said this tonight. It may not empower you for 6 minutes, 6 hours, 6 days, 6 years, but it will empower you. And basically, I want to be around positive, uplifting people. So that's my goal. I'm not trying to save everybody. I just want to galvanize the uplifting people. And then when you galvanize the uplifting people, our positive energy will draw the rest of the people in.
Yes, sir. So let me ask you this. Your upbringing, as far as having both parents being a part of the...
My dad was dead when I got here. My dad was hit in the head by a police officer, and he had an aneurysm and died.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. But even like having that background of strong, dynamic parents, how did that impact you growing up?
It didn't. My mother was a master teacher. And I don't mean masters as in grad school master. She was a master mother. My mother would give you, my mother never, what I tell people, my mother has transitioned. She transitioned in 2010. She's an ancestor now. And what I tell people, I miss my mother's presence, but more than anything, I miss my mother's questions. My mother never gave me the answers to any of my problems. My mother would just ask me the right question. I had an anger management issue at one point. and I was upset and I'm uptight. And she came out and she said, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was, it was me and my ex having a fight. And then she's like, "Well, what is she doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "I bet she's not angry," and just walked away. Now the answer pops in my head. Oh, you wasted time being angry with somebody that's going on with their day.
Right.
So my mother was just a master teacher. She gave you the info. She never gave you an answer. She just asked you a question and she would leave it alone. And, she would tell you, she would tell you things and it was just impactful and you dealt with it for the rest of your life. And it was just uplifting.
Right.
And one of the things that she really helped me and my sisters with is this. Spring break, she used to call it cleanup week. So you cleaned up your house that week. So with that, you had to have a book report done by the end of cleanup week. You also had to have a book report done every week of the summer. And she graded it. And no curves. You either got a great grade or you step your game up grade. So
see, that's awesome. See, I grew up, my mother was an educator as well. So she was very, very, stern about the importance of education and the doors that it can unlock.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, like, we especially in our community, we hear that so much in the focus of education. And just being honest, it's not it is a great tool, but it's not the answer. It's not the final say so that, okay, now I got this piece of paper, my life is going to change. And I wanted you to speak on that a little bit because I know, especially for my generation, a lot of us struggle with okay, I don't want to fit the stereotype. I want to get my education and then, my life will be what it needs to be. And then you just sort of forget about your upbringing, forget about your community and the people that you left behind that need you to encourage them or need you to share that information that you have uncovered throughout getting your education. And I mean, I see that more often than not where I go, to my mother's house and I'm seeing guys that I grew up with still on the block, doing their thing, smoking, drinking. And I'm not here to knock it. I mean, you saw it when you came down here. You saw what it was where I do events like that for the community to try to uplift and show better, show that, what, we can be great. But how do we get out of that mindset of this my hood, but you don't own a damn thing there?
See, I think I'm 51. So
Okay.
my parents' generation and the generation before them, because it is your natural course of events to protect the young. They didn't share their trauma.
Right.
Nobody wants their children to fall victim to what they've experienced. So what we did was we shielded our children from racism, discrimination, Jim Crow segregation, redlining, all those things that happened to us because we just wanted to teach our kids, okay, everything started when Dr. King got shot and then we took off. But what you need to do is the Sankofa bird. The Sankofa bird teaches you to look back so you can move forward. And what education is key. But education in America today only shows you that you know how to be trained. We need to encourage our young people to be entrepreneurs. Believe it or not, man, I think this sounds crazy. I think the people on the corner got it a little more figured out than we do because we get up, go to work every day. We are enslaved, not chattel slavery. Because I hate when people try to compare our lives to chattel. Man, this is like slavery. No, it ain't. No, it's not. But we are enslaved to working. But our grandparents, like my grandfather, first black man to have a contract with the city of Chicago to fix the milk trucks. Let's show you how long ago that was. He's my great grandfather, Theodore Whitmore. So we stopped. What we did, look at what we did. 158 years ago, we were emancipated. We emancipated ourselves. Stop telling people, letting people tell you that somebody freed us. We helped. George Washington got a smallpox outbreak. A black man taught him how to immunize himself. They got healthy. They won the war. They enlisted us, and we won the war for them then. Civil War, the Civil War, same thing happened. They were getting beat to death. They put guns in our hands. 8 months later, war was over, and we won. So stop telling people. See, these are the things that we need to be teaching our children.
Right.
You got people like most of us don't know that the first Black Expo was in the 1840s. 1840. And what's his name? Langston Hughes' grandfather was there. And what's my man name? W.B. Du Bois' grandfather was there. So we weren't all just walking around, yes, the boss. We had well-thinking, and guess what? One of the topics they were talking about in 1840, reparations.
Wow. Yeah, 1840.
1840. Well, the enslavement thing is still going on.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't teach our people that. Like me, man, it may sound like I was a great student in school. I wasn't. My sisters were A and B students. I did enough not to get beat.
Right.
I was like, But I subconsciously, see, we have to slow down. Like I was telling people yesterday on my show, slow down. I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it on your show. You know, we all love God. However you represent him, we all love God. You know, the higher power. Let's start looking at it like this. This is our church. When we go out in fellowship, that's something different, but this is our church. So in the morning, wake up, meditate, pray, slow down, just like you do at a church. First thing you do is talk to the Lord at church. When you get home, middle of the sermon, they pray again.
Right.
Slow down, get your thoughts together. So that way you won't bring that negativity into your house, your wife, husband, your children. They're not going to feel that. And then before you go to bed, slow down again, wind down, and break it down again. Just like at church, when you're walking out the door, they pray again for protection. So pray for that. Meditate, take yourself down. But what we've done is we microwave. Everything is microwave. We need to encourage, figure out a way. Like this dude I used to work with, his name Nick Kalamoto-Sakis. This Greek cat. Nick told me that he had Greek school every Saturday. And that's to indoctrinate them into the Greek way. We have to start indoctrinating each other into our ways. And only a fool will start at 16, 18. Because there's documented proof that we were here 300 years before Christopher Columbus was born. More than 300 years. I'm just saying, but 300 years before Christopher Columbus was born, we were here. When you got people like Mansa Musa, the richest man in the history of the world to date, he used to travel with 70,000 people draped in gold. He used to send 70,000 people over here to trade maize. See, when you know about things like this, you go, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to be that. Right. But we keep starting with slavery, bro. Well, if you start your history with being out of bondage, everything is an improvement, but it's not. And that's not me. That's John Henry Clark.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is educate ourselves. Some of us are just not meant to work. We are meant to be the dude who opens the store, not work at the store, because we might just be lazy. But I established this so Justin and HRap will work for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to start teaching our young people, get a skill, because everybody's not an academic.
Absolutely.
Get a skill, be a carpenter, be a tooling guy, a machinist, be a sheet metal operator, be something that's gonna be around for the rest of the time. Be IT, teach your children. Hey man, you like those video games? What if you made one? Start inspiring your kids like that. Like a lot of people back in the day, I've heard some great people say that they should just see their grandfather read the paper every morning. So now they read. And then they found out later in life their grandfather couldn't read. They just wanted him to see them read.
Wow.
So these are the things that we have to start inculcating into our community, instead of saying what's not gonna happen, the man holding me back, yada yada yada, this, that, and the third. Because look, I'm a firm believer. I literally joke. If I don't say the man holding me back in a day, I ain't breathing. But I'm joking saying it. But what I would say is this: the man can't hold us back. 100 years ago, last year, 101 year now, a town was burned to the ground. The most famous town was burned to the ground. It's not the only town. 2 movie theaters, 4 restaurants, 8 doctors, an airport, 2 hospitals, all with us. So how's the man holding us back with Jim Crow segregation, redlining, and things of that nature? Memphis, Tennessee was saved. What's this man's name? I always forget his name. I wrote it down, so in the event that I'm ever in a situation like this, I remember his name. What's his name? Bob Church. Bob Church saved Memphis. Bob Church financed Ida B. Wells, for people that don't know. Bob Church financed the migration to Oklahoma. And he was a person who came from bondage. His father was an owner of people. His mother was one of the people his father owned. So how is it the man can hold us back? You know why the man can hold us back? Because we keep saying, listen to this, man. Asada Shakur in her book, the people who oppress you will never educate you to the point that you have to get out of that depression.
Right.
So how is the man holding you back? And you can do like dog. Just sit there, be the spook that sat next to the door, suck in all that information and grow.
Yep.
And then you got to be like dog again. Share it. But we think I made it. No, you didn't make it. I cannot, like, if you tuned into my show tonight, across the bottom of the screen, I promoted your show. I can't make it if you struggling.
Right.
Oh man, I only met Justin once. So see, we love referencing performing the way other communities perform, but all we talk about is living together and eating together. No, you have to do business with your brothers and sisters. Oh man, brothers be tripping. Yeah, some of them. So when you say brothers be tripping and sisters be tripping, if you're a woman, that means you. If you're a man, that means you. So are you tripping too? So stop speaking this negativity into the universe and it won't come back to you.
Yeah, it comes off to me as if, like, you know, we have to find a way to show each other. And like you said, it's just like giving back the information that you sucked in, that you absorbed, and that you're putting to use in your everyday life. How do you give that back to your brother or to your sister in order to sort of the each one teach one method? You know, like, hey, if I can do this, so can you. And I'm going to be the one to help you or guide you. Like, let me sponsor you. And that we got to get away from that. Stop feeling like if someone's saying, hey, let me sponsor you, that means they're taking care of you. That's not what that is. What that is I see something in you and I believe in you, and I want to help you grow that. I want to help flourish that nurture that inside of you that I see, that I feel like could be great. And I really don't understand that, because I see it so often where, you know, dudes do something or come up with like a lick or whatever, and it's like, hush, hush, you know, like, nah, I can't, and niggas gonna be trying to take what I got. Like, nah, you're giving back. You're sharing that information and you're helping people grow and challenge themselves and hope that they will do the same for the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, man. We have to understand that epigenetics is a real thing. See, we've got to the point where we don't even acknowledge the past. See, like, you might be definitely afraid of cats. But what you don't learn in school is your great-great-grandfather could have been attacked by a bobcat. And it went into his system, went into your grandfather's system, went into your father's system. Now you don't even know why you're afraid of cats. Like me, I found out I was in a car accident. I was in a car wreck in July. I found out that I am I'm talking about panic attack claustrophobic. I couldn't even get an MRI. They had to give me another process. But that could be because how we got brought over here. Stacked on top of each other. And maybe it's triggering. We have to also realize that, hey, we got issues. And I don't mean, hey man, I was gonna go there, but I'm not gonna go. I was gonna go Antonio Brown. But
no, you got
yeah, but you know what? Not Antonio Brown childish issues. We have deeply rooted issues. And the only way you can stop using drugs is to say, I'm a drug addict. One of the ways you can stop lying is you can say, I'm a liar. I don't want to be that anymore.
Right.
Only way you can stop suffering is if you choose to say, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
You see, I don't know what's going on.
Get that tea.
And the only thing, what I find us doing is we are ashamed of the pain that we've experienced. Why? Every group on the face of this earth has experienced pain. We're the only people that won't. See, when you look at the Jewish community, they look at that 1940s, that 5 years of pain, and they say, we'll never do it again.
Right.
We don't even, man, we over that slavery thing. No, we not.
Yep.
You can't beat somebody into submission for 400 years and then expect them, without even acknowledging the pain, to wake up, I'm good. You got, like Dr. Claude Anderson, Maritos Manumission, 1771. Maritos Manumission is one of the reasons we can't get along. It's a law that's still on the books in the United States of America. Maritos Manumission. Maritos Manumission is you can get your freedom as a black man if you snitch on a slave revolt, if you save a white man's life or make life easier for a white man. That's divisive in itself. Who wants to be in bondage? So, you don't know about people like John Horse. Great black man. See, like the Yellow Rose of Texas. The song, The Yellow Rose of Texas, is not about a flower. John Horse taught the natives of Texas how to kick Davy Crockett man's behind. And he liked fair, light-skinned women. So to the people, the dominant society at the time, they sent a little light-skinned girl in there. Her name was Rose. And they caught up with him.
Yeah.
The Yellow Rose of Texas. People think it's a flower. No, it's a woman. But see, we have to understand our greatness, do research on our greatness, and then the greatness will elevate us, man. Because when you realize, man, Justin is the man. Man, you seen this podcast? He killing it. Now it's, hey, I want to be like Justin. And then it's somebody else that I don't want to be in the front of the camera. I want to produce the show.
Right.
And that's what we're not looking at. But every time you turn around, you don't hear about John Singleton. You don't hear about Spike Lee. You don't hear about, what's his name? Spike Lee's cousin. You don't hear about, what's his name? He did F. Gary Gray. You don't hear about those guys when they talk about directors. And they made some of the most impactful. How many people, God rest his soul, he ancestor now, Melvin Van Peebles. Melvin Van Peebles, they wouldn't let him be the man over here. He went over to Europe and became the man, then came back. How many people know about that? It's so much greatness in our community that we don't talk about. I could just talk about when I was a young person. Bill Cosby was on the wall. Muhammad Ali was on the wall. It was just a few people. Then you got like Dr. What's his name? The peanut guy? Washington. George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver. It was like 12 black people that was only great. Rosa Parks. There's only like 12 black people. A black person invented the internet. A black woman invented the internet. A black woman invented GPS. A black man invented the remote control. And guess what? The thing that all of us did at college time and sit around with your friends at 2 or 3 in the morning, cartridges on video games, a black man invented that. We don't know these things, so we don't know how great we can be. So, hey man, I got to get me a job. At the end of the day, this is what a job is. And please, when I say this, don't think I'm anti-job. I'm anti-homeless black people. So if you need a job, go ahead and get it. But Look at the reality of it. We were enslaved people, and then they said, "Okay, you got to go. Y'all won the war. You can go."
Right.
And then when we were enslaved, they fed us, they housed us, they clothed us, right? And we worked for free. Now we work and give them money for housing, clothing, and food.
Right.
We have to get in the situation to whereas we can just go, hey, let me help you. Let me help you. Even if it hurts. Just because Justin called me on his podcast and slapped me around don't mean I should never go on another podcast. That means me and Justin need to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We are insanely fast to cut people off. Mistakes will happen. The worst thing that can happen between two people is a misunderstanding. And most misunderstandings, a raw dog, buck naked conversation will fix it.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't do that. We just and then I don't mess with him. One man, Mike Tyson, the great Mike Tyson, man, was watching this podcast. He had his young brother on there. The young brother said, "Hey, man, you crossed me out. I ain't dealing with you no more." Mike Tyson said, "And the devil wins."
Mm.
He said, "What do you mean?" He was like, "He changed you. You don't see. We think helping, you can only help people that you love, and I love you so. No, you can help anybody. I'm gonna help you out. I'm not gonna deal with you, but I'll help you out, and then we're gonna move on. And then when we need each other, we'll go back and get back together, make another $1 million, and then you go left, I go right. And then guess what? If you keep experiencing success with somebody who you quote unquote don't like or have an issue with, watch the issue dissipate. I always tell people, tell you what, man, until we all sitting around and have the ability to go to Aruba when we feel like it, and then we can argue about our differences, keep your differences to yourself.
Right. I think that, like, it's so important for us we always say this, like, and my aunt just made that comment, we have to change the cycle.
Amen.
We say that, and I totally agree with that. But just the history lesson you just gave, my generation is so far removed from that. And even for me to recognize, like, George Washington Carver, to recognize the names that you were dropping, knowing some of those names, we're so far removed from that it ain't even funny, man. It's actually really, really sad. And I don't really like, it's like, you want to do something, you want to change in your community, you want to make change happen, but it's one of those things where I find myself getting down, like, well, everyone isn't on board. And I have to correct myself, like, okay, it ain't for everyone. It's only for those that have the same like minds that understand that it got to be more, it got to be better for us. And that for me, especially, I'm 36 and I'm like, okay, how can I help improve my community? How can I help improve not my generation, but the next generation? How can I help improve them with introducing people like you, introducing people like my cousin, Dawkins, and just letting them have that guidance to soak up that knowledge and understand that, hey, it's people out here that's really at a better understanding than what you know, and they can help you and they can teach you, so you don't have to make the mistakes that line you up in prison, or make the mistakes that in your life. Like, that's where I'm at, and I'm just trying, like, to really get a better understanding of how do I convey that message? How do I relay that message?
I'm gonna give you 3 of the most important people in our community:
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, Malcolm X, and Martin King. All 3 ancestors now. 60% of the Black community didn't like Malcolm X and Martin King the day they died.
Mm.
Jesus only had 12 people, and he told one of them, "You gonna sell me out." So why would it be different for us? See, we got to get out of this mindset that everybody must come. We gonna come. You gonna come when it's your time. All we can do, even in the Bible, say, God said, I'm gonna make it possible so the whole world could get this message. So this forum, and you keep doing your show and having these insightful conversations. Somebody, hey, Fred gonna go, hey man, did you see Justin? And John gonna say, and then Jill. That's all we can do. See, we want it to be, hey man, wake up. Nah, man.
Right.
They're not gonna wake up, man. You know, but what we can do is start creating a infrastructure, a foundation, and we will have to continue to go back further than America, because we're the only people that stop at America with our history.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I catch that all the time when you're dealing with Caucasian people, and they can tell you like, oh no, I'm from Germany, or my roots trace back to Ireland, and it's like, well, you know, for us, we say the continent of Africa. For some of us like to say, well, no, I'm Indian. You know, like you have those different type of conversation, but you're absolutely right. I mean, we have to learn to dig further than just America. And it kills me because, you know, me and my fiance, that was a couple of years back, we traveled over to Dominican Republic. And I was showing her like, hey, you see this black guy here, which was a Haitian guy. I'm like, watch how smart this dude is. And he's from a third world country, dirt poor, but went up and spoke to the brother. The brother told me, I know 7 different languages, like just extremely bright, but did not allow his circumstances to dictate, hey, I'm still here. I'm still trying to make a difference. And that was like, you know, so eye-opening, where he was looking at us like, wait a minute, like, yeah, this is great. Y'all coming to visit Dominican Republic. We get it. But what about America? What are y'all doing in America to enhance that? Like, we're over here working because this is where everybody comes. So we look at it like this is where we're going to get our funds from to build up our country, to build up Haiti. But what about America? What's going on there? And I just found that so interesting that, you know, and this was a young brother too, for him to sit there and say that, I'm like, wow, that was powerful to me.
And then, you know, and then they come over here and they hear us complain, and they think that we're being lazy. And in a lot of ways, we are being mentally lazy because we're not coming up with ways to get around this. Again, man, you cannot inculcate yourself into a system. Look, man, you cannot enhance anything in the midst of poison.
Right.
So what we have to do is take a step back, fix our tribe, get us on one path, one accord, and then as we grow, as we continue to grow, then we can mix into the whole situation. This is like our parents said it all the time. How you gonna help somebody else in your thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We keep trying to make America work when we need to make the community work, the culture work.
Right.
And we need to be educating people about the Carter G. Wilsons, the W.B. Du Bois is one of the greatest thinkers in the history of the world. We need to be educating people about Fannie Lou Hamer. People think I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired as an outcast line. No, that's Fannie Lou Hamer. You know, we got great people. Shirley Chisholm. It's the first woman what's her name? The vice president, Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, they overlook her big time.
She the first person to run. No, she not. Shirley Chisholm did it in 72.
Right.
And did a damn good job for it being 1972.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, man, I don't mess with the NCAA. What is it? I almost said NAACP. Man, that would be a part of it. I don't mess with the Urban League. Would be a part of it.
Yeah.
If it ain't working, be a part of it. I don't deal with the church because the pastor is this. Go in the church and be Jesus then. Go into church and metaphorically turn over some tables. Right. Why don't we have a food drive, Pastor? Why ain't we got nothing to help these young ladies, Pastor?
Right.
Why ain't you teaching Africana studies on Saturday, Pastor? You want to improve the community? There go 3 ways to do it.
Yep.
Why don't we create something so we can have a daycare center so these young sisters can go back to school and go get jobs? Mm-hmm. Why don't we have some type of men's meeting so these young brothers would know, hey, man, stop laying down with everybody. And when you lay down with everybody and you get up with a baby, you ain't got to like that lady. You right. Like that baby. Mm-hmm. And you keep your opinions about that woman to yourself.
Yep. Don't share it with that baby. Yep.
Right. Don't share with that young person.
Yep.
See, we keep focusing on what we don't have. Man, America would be trash without us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Trash.
For sure. This country probably wouldn't even really be able to exist without us. And I mean, you know, I had that conversation on one of my earlier podcast episodes, and I was telling the guy, like, look, man, you got to realize that American culture is Black culture. It is built off of our backs. It's built off of everything today. If you look at the music, the eating, the language, that's generated from us. And you know, I love the podcast that y'all did on the forecast, the episode of hip hop and the importance of it. And it's like, man, if you could just look from, go back 10 years and look how impactful hip hop was to American society. And that ain't from Eminem. He learned that from KRS-One. He learned that from Houdini.
That's the Ace.
Exactly. He learned those from groups before him and the 4 founders before him that laid that foundation for a guy like him to be able to rap and for a guy like him to be able to be accepted. And we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I want to go back to what you said about, you know, the 3 most important people. And the 2 I want to touch on is Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Hold on, I didn't say they were 3 most important.
Well, I mean, yeah, 3 important people within the Black community. But I want to touch on that because I was having this conversation with CJ, which, I mean, I know y'all know CJ, but me and him were having that conversation, and I'm like, dude, when you think about it, that's why both of them were killed, because they were so close to really setting a standard in America, and the dominant society did not want to see that happen because it would have been all bad for them. And I feel like for my generation and the generation after me, it's time for us to pick up that mantle and run with it. It's time for us to make that dream come true, make that change happen, as far as somebody has to organize and somebody has to be willing to I don't even know the word I'm looking for. I know
immobilize and organize.
There we
Mobilize brings people to one to
right.
Something. Organize is to create an industry or create a entity that uses that immobilization.
Yeah, because Malcolm could you know carry out and make sure things were running smoothly and things had structure. Martin could mobilize and bring the people. And if you had those 2, I think about that early on. What if Martin Luther King were to sit down with the Nation of Islam and really understand the teachings and really say, you know what, this is what I need to be a part of? Because a lot of things that he was doing early on was really for the church. And I'm not mad at it, but you saw where that got you. You would go and you would address the issue, but then once you address it and they, okay, we'll fix it, then you gone. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It was no one really there to maintain that process and check that and say, okay, I trained this brother up, I'm gonna set him here. And I noticed that with the Nation of Islam, that they do that fantastically. They will train a brother and say, okay, this is now yours. We need you to run this, but run this under our direction and our guidance. But because we instilled this in you and we're trusting you, now here it is, make it happen. How do we do that? And I guess that's my question to you. How do we do that without it necessarily being a religious group or a, I guess you could say some type of movement? Because I look at Black Lives Matter too, and I'm like, okay, that's great. You out here marching, then what? What happens when, like we saw that. We got the Trayvon Martins, we got the George Floyd situation. We've been like, I'm tired of that. I already said that on one of the podcasts. Like, I don't believe in marching anymore. I feel like it's time for something totally different, because y'all been doing that. Your parents did that. My parents did that. Grandparents did that. It's time for something more, because it seems like they just throw you a bone and basically say, nigga, shut up, go in the house. And now it's like, okay, what do we do?
I will quote our great ancestor, John Lewis. He said what you just said. And this is one of the greatest marches in the world. Marched with Dr. King, marched with Dick Gregory, he marched with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, one of his bills is on the books right now since 1986. Well, he said, hey, no more marching. It's time to get into some good trouble. And we do we keep trying to interweave ourselves into some tapestry that don't want us there.
Right.
So create your own tapestry. That's what we have to do. We have to build a nation within a nation. Everybody else has done it. There's a Latino side of town in every major city in America.
Absolutely.
There's an Asian side of town.
Yeah, exactly.
And here in Chicago,
I know you see it.
It's a Chinatown and a Koreatown.
Now, how, like, I know I've been to Chicago maybe like a handful of times, and every time I went, it's just so segregated. It truly blows my mind. And I mean, you've been here to Texas and you see how it is. It's not as segregated as Chicago. And that's so mind-blowing to me. I love it because of the culture and the history of Chicago. If you truly look it up, you'll get an understanding of it. But it seems like every other place is being gentrified besides Chicago.
No, Chicago being gentrified, they pushing people out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you ain't rich, look, I was going to buy this condo in May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was $48,000. That same condo is $90,000.
Ooh, just in a year?
It ain't even been a year.
God,
hey, man, I looked at some houses. They were like 120, 110. Those same houses, $350,000.
Oh, man.
The neighborhood that I grew up in, you seen the movie Coolie High?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in that neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
That neighborhood ain't no more Coolie High. Those houses that Preach lived in, they out of it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's being gentrified. See, the thing is, man, again, we keep trying to, hey, man, I want what they have too. No, just build your own.
Right.
Look, we could literally just look around our communities from coast to coast, border to border, and see how to fix it.
Yeah.
Me and Justin open up a corner store. Just a regular mom and pop corner store. Potato chips, stuff like that. Those people making about $2,500 a day.
Yeah.
And then once we up and running, we find another neighborhood. We find another neighborhood. We find another neighborhood. Now, Justin and HRap are rich. But see, we keep saying, I want a good job. That is a good job. Your own thing is a good job.
Right.
We keep waiting on people to assign us things when we can just do it.
Right.
We must step out of the shadows of everybody else. Stop we've given away so many things. Things have been stolen. I mean, like when you talk about reparations, what if we just got reparations on the things that were stolen from us, like land, like opportunities? It would be way more than the slavery reparation.
So let me ask you this. Have you heard, I can't remember the exact terminology that the guy used, but it was basically a part of the promise that America made to African Americans as far as the East coastline from Florida up to
South Carolina.
right
And
now.
then they took it.
Exactly. But you see now it's small. It's really small right now, but they're starting a movement, and it's really from the Geechee people in South Carolina, where they're starting to buy back that land and take back that land, because especially in South Carolina, a lot of those white people that own that land, their ancestors died off, and those people don't know anything about it. So those black people, those Geechee or those islanders are going back in there, taking over that land, buying back that land. And they're trying to make a push for it to go ahead and start spreading downwards on down to the coastline of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that was legitimate? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I remember at the end of slavery, it was Liberia that they were trying to push us back to, but then they realized, well, they don't like, you know what I'm saying? They realized.
No, we said no. We said no.
Right.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln set aside $300 for each enslaved person to go back, and they was gonna give us Liberia. So right. We were like, nah, we built this. We ain't going nowhere, Jack. So yeah, and that is true. I mean, it's a town in California that they're giving those people their land back to. I mean, it's slowly but surely happening. But again, you don't have to wait. See, we keep waiting.
Right.
We keep waiting. Oh man, see, and then they're gonna get they have to do something. And they man, ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. This is the United States of America. Like KRS-One said, man, the land of the thief, home of the slave.
Yeah.
You gotta look, man. You have to do exactly what you're doing. What you're doing down there for Juneteenth is the beginning of something awesome.
Right.
Because you got people coming from here, you got people coming from here, you got people coming from here, and then okay, it started off with 10 people, then it's 20 people, then it's 75 people, then it's 100 people, then it's 200 people, and it continues to grow. See, we don't want to plant the seed and then let it blossom. Understand, when you plant a seed, the seed is in the midst of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing around it. You can't see anything. The seed sees nothing. And then it slowly blossoms into a tulip, and then it becomes a plant. We living in this microwave society that isn't showing us anything, isn't So what we do is, this is why we need to start sitting at the feet of our elders and listening. I talked to this guy's name Samuel Jackson recently, 75, 78-year-old man. He used to be a contractor. Samuel Jackson, you know how nationwide, don't let no brothers fix your stuff because they ain't gonna do it right.
Right.
He gave me insight on that. He had a contracting company, and he would go around fixing and repairing, right? He would get subcontracted by a bigger white company, and they would only allow him to do 80% of the work, pay him, and then he would go. And then they would show up and say, see, look what he did for you. We'll fix it for free. But you already got paid. You signed these people up for a loan, and you came through with your cape and sign and won for us. So this is how these misnomers and these lies and these bromites are placed on us. So what we have to do is have conversations like this, and then solicit people from all over the country to meet here. Man, just imagine if I came down there next year for the Juneteenth celebration with 25 of my homeboys. And then the next year, 50 of my homeboys. And so forth. And we just invite one person from every state to come. We have to stop saying, again, can't nobody stop us from doing anything. Nobody can stop. There's not enough energy to stop people that want to do.
Right.
Because here in Chicago, you've been to Bronzeville, it's still black.
Yep.
You saw those big, pretty homes over there. Peel Hill, black. Beverly, black. It's still black thriving neighborhoods here in Chicago, but all you hear about is Inglewood, the west side of Chicago. You know, what is this area they call the low end? That's all you hear about. But there are literally hundreds of thousands of thriving black people in this city owning property, owning businesses, and doing things that you never thought of. But the news tells you this again, this low vibrating information, and it will talk you out of another thing. Remove these people who know how you're going to fail from your life.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to do this. Man, that ain't going to work. How you know? I'm just saying, you're done. I'm out. Mm-hmm. When you start vibrating on the high level, we can continue to hang out. Or we can only hang out as we watch football.
Right.
Or baseball or something. But I can't hang out with you on the regular basis. Remove those people because they're going to drag you into the ground.
Right. Now, what's that area where the athletes live at in Chicago? That was really nice.
Oh, Hyde Park.
Yeah, boy. Jeez.
Hey, and
you could see that. I was like, God, dog.
Hey, here's the thing, man. In Hyde Park, I live down the street from Hyde Park. I live like a mile away from Hyde Park.
Yeah.
But one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America is right next door to, dude, about 25% of the shooters that you hear about is right down the street from Obama House.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, Chicago is the weird, like the neighborhood, my man Big Illinois, we grew up in this neighborhood. I always tell people I grew up on the tracks, the other side of the tracks. Mm-hmm. Me and Big Illinois walked out of our house. If we went a quarter mile south, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the United States of America, the Good Times Projects, Cabrini Green.
Gotcha.
We went this way, we were running to Bears. I used to see Harry Carey at Walgreens on North Avenue in Wells buying beer. Matt Suey, all that, Richard Dent. And that's the reality of Chicago. If you go a quarter mile east from me and Big Illinois' house, it's called the Gold Coast. Some of the richest people in America live there.
Yeah.
Gary Matthews Jr. went to high school with Big Illinois.
Oh man. Did you know? I can't remember. Oh, Eddie Curry. He's from the
South Side.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. This is the even worse part about Chicago. We've been brainwashed to the point whereas people on the west side of Chicago are looked upon as the N-words. Mm-hmm. On the south side of Chicago, we better. That's why it's funny. West side, like I was born on the west side. My family's from the west side, right? I moved to the north side. My mom moved us to the north side when I was 10. Believe it or not, if you ask somebody from the south side that y'all hear about on the news all the time, they go, man, them people on the west side crazy. Now us west siders look at the news and laugh like, really? Welcome to the nonsense. So it's just, yeah, man, Eddie Curry. I mean, man, there's so many. See, the thing is, we have never been taught to galvanize as a nation because, look. Eddie Curry, $100 million contract. Mm-hmm. Derrick Rose, $100 million contract. He had $200 million contracts, one with a sneaker company and one with the Bulls. Jabari Parker, Anthony Davis, the boy who played defense, I can't think his name, Patrick Beverly, Will Bynum. Just those guys could fix Chicago. They could open up grocery stores so you could eliminate food deserts and things of that nature. See, we continue to complain when the answers are right in front of us. But again, we don't talk to we don't talk to our elders, and we don't learn about our ancestors. Sit at the feet of your elders, and you will learn. You will learn more than you will ever learn in a book. Like saying, Mr. Jackson, Samuel Jackson, I didn't know none of that stuff, man. I didn't know. Man, I was around Mr. Jackson for about 8 minutes. He gave me at least an hour worth of information in 8 minutes.
Wow.
My barbershop, the dude, Frank owns my barbershop. Frank started talking one day. He said, Brian, I listened, because he know me as Brian. He don't know me as HRap. He said, Brian, I listened to your show. He pulled out books and magazines and that. I said, hey, Frank, you gonna be on? He said, yeah, I'll be on. Frank ain't gonna be on. But it's just not his way. But he will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. It's cool, man.
No, he's just so extra.
Hey, man, let him be extra. Let me tell you why you let him be extra. Our history used to be this. This is why you ever notice a lot of sisters do this. Y'all at the PTA meeting or something. And what's his name?
Justice.
They'll go, Justice did this. He did well. He did this. And then a lot of our mothers will go, no, he okay. He okay. Again, this comes from epigenetics. They talk, we were forced to talk our abilities down. You know why? Because if you say Justice was the smart kid and Justice could put stuff together, guess what happened to Justice? He went down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Or they would kill him because he too rambunctious. So our mothers would talk to downplay our abilities. Oh, no, he's just bad. I can't do nothing with him. And then he stayed alive. So yeah, man, let him be rambunctious, man. Because you know what? He gonna grow. And he gonna develop, and he gonna be the next lawyer. He gonna be the next doctor. He gonna be the next engineer.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, the thing is with him, man. Like I love it because he's, you know, I have two boys biologically, and then you know my fiance has a son and a daughter. But with my boys, it's just, you know, trying to instill and teach them things that, you know, I wasn't taught or things I learned later on in life. And the thing with him is he pays so much attention to details of things that it's mind-blowing at times. And I love it. I actually appreciate what you just said, dropping that knowledge on me. But
he's smarter than, hey, believe it or not, man, those little people are smarter than both of us.
Yeah, I already know. And I had to, we have to touch on this topic before we end this podcast. Today marks the anniversary of the terrorist attack on the Capitol. I have to hear from your personal thoughts and from a intellectual standpoint as well, your thoughts on why isn't this really discussed or talked about, and why haven't we seen more, I guess you could say, like, more punishment for that attack?
Because we've been tricked into believing this is a two-party situation, whereas one side is good and one side is evil, and they both look. How many races do you hang with? None. You don't even hang with brothers that hate Caucasian people because you don't have time for that negativity. Right. So, but these people standing around hanging out with and doing business with evil people. Oh, I'm gonna go across the aisle, and no, you're not. You're not. You over there already. Right. See, we want to believe that Joe Biden is the guy who's gonna help us. Joe Biden in 1988 stood in front of the world and said, "If Haiti sunk into the water and into the ocean, who would care?"
Wow. These
are the same people. Joe Biden, guess who his mentor was? Strom Thurmond, one of the most staunch racists in the world. Guess who eulogized Strom Thurmond? Joe Biden. So if you're hanging out with racists, you're making racist statements, you're not racist.
That's a good point.
See, he could have the U.S. attorney, he could be sicking them on people, but he not. See, this is letting us know, man, we need to galvanize right now. They don't want black people gone because they're entertained by us.
Absolutely.
They need us to do the work. So they don't want us gone, but they don't want us being able to step up and say, hey, this ain't right. Well, we have this is a warning. Because look, when you have a coup that has failed, understand the people who initiated that coup, that's not a failure to them.
Yep.
That was a test run. Mm-hmm. Understand, look, people love making your state of Texas be a state full of kooks and they crazy down there. Man, no. Arm yourself, because anytime you had, again, I said this on the show yesterday, you have ex-generals, retired generals, coming out saying that the military and the police departments are overrun by white nationalists.
Right.
And be aware that in the event that Trump, this is a quote in Newsweek, if Trump isn't reelected, they are prepared to kick it off again.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, I agree with you 100%. I totally feel like that was just a test run to see how far they can get, to see how was America or how are the people going to respond. And it's sickening because I hear other people, well, they have their rights. That's their right to do that. Like, what? Like any other race of people in America that try something like that, you can forget about it. You're not going to have a day in court. You're going to face judgment day right then and there. That's honestly it. And, you know, I guess this is a two-part question because I have to ask you, I just have to ask this. If we, like you made a statement earlier about get a seat at that table, indulge the information, and share it with your community. And I'm tired of hearing us talk about these politicians making promises. We're going to do this for the Black community. We're going to do that for the Black community. Your issues matter to us. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's from Bush to Obama to Trump to Biden.
That's from George Washington to Joe Biden.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And it's really, how do we, like, me personally, I was even looking into that. I was really thinking about, like, hey, if I try my hand at politics, can I get in and make something shake? Can I get in and make something happen? Or how do we start holding our elected officials accountable for their promises? How do we truly do that as far as a community? Because honestly, it's only one community, and that's our Black and brown brothers and sisters that are hurting.
Well, it's two ways you can start off. The first way is download this thing called a 5 Calls app.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be able to reach out and contact your representatives through the 5 Calls app directly. It's another app called the Politicking app. The Politicking app, if Justin runs for office, you haven't been in office, but if you were a person, like let's say you were a city councilman and you were running for state representative, they'll show everything that you voted for and against. And then we'll know, nope, we ain't voting for him, or hey, that's our guy.
Right.
See, what we have to do, this is the way other cultures got what they want in this country. Remember, people people may not even know. 100 years ago, it used to be signs in front of restaurants. No N-words, no Jews, no Italians, no dogs.
Wow.
So they organized and they got things done on their own. We have to start talking like you have 5 children. One of them needs to be an attorney. One of them needs to be a doctor. One of them needs to be a politician. One of them needs to be a cop. Period. Like we a lot of us don't have it together at 18. We just surfing, you know, that I don't know what I want to do. Right. Young brother, young sister, go to the military so you can get paid and trained on organization while you figure it out. Absolutely. We have these conversations with our young people saying, hey, the purpose of this is to brainwash you. And they want to inculcate you into the social structure. But this is the governance structure. And we are here to build up us. And don't see, we ashamed to speak loosely. Like Miss Adams, my 8th grade teacher, she used to call it the Black dialect. We're afraid of the Black dialect. Like, for example, I talked about this on the show just a minute ago, my called rap sessions.
Mm-hmm.
It's this thing that we haven't even, most of us don't even know about, but our elders know. It was called Christmas gift, and no T, gift. What our elders and ancestors used to do, Christmas Day, me, you, and Doc would hop in the car, and we'll go around to our friends and family and knock on the door, Christmas gift, and hang you something. The key was to give somebody something before they gave it to you. See, when we learn when we go back to that way of thinking, ways of knowing, then we'll be okay, because you got politicians, you got our young people. You're gonna be a politician. You can look at a young person and see, like him, he can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter, your son, like another. I'm gonna suggest this to you. Never identify your other children. Those are your children. Biological don't mean nothing. That's another way to separate us.
Right.
Oh, well, this is not really. It is. If I feed you every day, you mine.
Absolutely.
You mine. Yeah, you got a father. I'm your daddy, though.
Right. Yeah. It's a difference.
Hey, I'm your daddy. So, but see, it's these. Look, man, Africana studies. The first principle is the social structure, how people see us. The governance structure, how we see ourselves. Ways of knowing, the spiritual world. Memes, what is it? Meaning and cultural makings, and technology, how you use technology to your benefit. We must inculcate those things into the way we see things. You need to be an attorney, young brother, young sister. You need to be a doctor. You need to be a lawyer. You know what? You are going to be a politician. I see it in you. Everybody know they got a friend who will argue the skin off your back.
Absolutely.
You need to be a politician. And just, we don't even think about that. We wait till some dude show up with a nice suit and a great smile, and he tell us he's spending lives like a millionaire, and he never do anything. But the thing is, I know of this dude, I'm not gonna say his name because he watches the show. I sent him the link to the show. He got elected. And he said he did more bidding for white people than he did for black people. You know why? Because he said he was at his first function, and it was nothing but white people that saying, you got to do this for us. And they were Republican white people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to do this. We have to get involved and get into it.
Yeah.
We keep they supposed to. You are supposed to.
Yeah.
You are supposed to. Look, man, stop worrying about who you pray to, who you lay with, where you work, and all this stuff. We got to fix this. You don't have to be everybody in our community's friend, but you better respect everybody in our community.
Absolutely.
Everybody in the world, but in our community first and foremost. This is a tribal thing. We are tribal people. We don't do anything alone. We don't do anything alone. It's just we're genetically predisposed to work together. Just the way it works.
Yep.
And if you don't believe me, do yourself a favor. Go to Amazon Prime and look at the Black Church. It's a documentary about the Black Church. And they talk about, I don't like Dr. Henry Louis Gates, and we'll talk about that on our time. But he brings up the fact that you had Black people who were enslaved come over here as Muslims. And they inculcated Muslim characteristics into Christianity that the people who enslaved them. And they slid it right in under. So we just, look, man, I love you, you love me, and we love everybody on our team.
Right.
You can't take this jersey off, though. It's stuck on you.
Absolutely.
So we have to get involved. The number one issue, see, and another thing, Chuck D said this, they've moved childhood to age 36. He's still young. No. When you find, again, this goes back to finding out who were the people in front of you. Dr. King had his PhD at 26. By 26, Malcolm X was helping run one of the largest black organizations in America.
After coming out of prison.
So, and that's another thing, man. Start a business, because HRap went to jail for selling dope. But Justin has a corner store. Hey, Justin, my nephew, HRap, man, he was caught up in the streets. Can you hire him? Yeah, I can hire him. Next thing you know, he got your store running like clockwork, because he understands supply and demand. He understands how to stock things. He understands all that. See, we have to understand, because I was involved in nefarious activities does not make me a zero. I might be smarter than everybody you know. But I just took a left turn.
Yeah.
So stop labeling people. Man, just look, help one person tomorrow. I beg of everybody who's listening to this, help one person tomorrow. And then help somebody Saturday. Then help somebody Sunday. Just, I don't care if it's helping somebody across the street, helping with, man, I'm not bragging. I remember driving down Madison Avenue, the biggest street in Chicago, and this elder could not cross the street. I got out my car, parked my car, and walked that lady across the street. Didn't cost me nothing.
Right.
I wasn't late for anything. Didn't cost me a dime. And now she remembers that. She remembers that somebody took time out to do that. My mother used to get on me. She was like, anytime you walk past an elder, you say hello. I'm like, I don't even know her. Just say hello. And now when I do it, they light up.
Right.
Hey, how you doing, young man?
You taking the time to acknowledge them.
Acknowledge you.
Sometimes that's really all people need, is that acknowledgement to know that someone recognizes you or someone cares enough to just say hello. That's simple. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So it ain't hard. We have to get involved. We have to develop young doctors, lawyers, politicians, and police officers, for one.
Right.
And firemen.
Yeah.
Then we have to start opening up businesses instead of looking for a job. We must see. Here's the beautiful part. This is what we can really do. We can start, like in Chicago, in the northern part of Chicago. It's this Jewish community, and it's the same way in Brooklyn, New York. They have their own police force. They have their own 911 number.
Wow.
We can do that. And look. These educators that are underpaid, our community could just, if we lived in a community that was galvanized, we could push money into their school and have those men and women who are educating our children live a better life. These people, they're around your kids more than you are, man.
Yep. Absolutely.
They're around your children more than you are. Underpaid teacher. That's the oxymoron. At the worst, we should be providing low discount housing, a house that they can own for instruction. If you're not going to give them more money, tell you what, all the teachers at this school, you got to live in this neighborhood, but this house is yours. Absolutely. If you work here for 10 years, that's your house.
That's you. You own that.
You own that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think you'll see a huge increase of teachers too. And they will actually care about the actual, what they're instilling in those kids a lot more as well.
I mean, man, it's easy. It's easy, but we just have to stop assuming that the whole world has to be involved. Hey, man, see, this is the thing, man. We think the Bible is only for church. That's good in everyday practice.
Yeah, apply it to your everyday life.
Yeah, and whenever it's one or two or three, you're going to find God, right? Well, start a group with 2 or 3 people. And then somebody going to go, what y'all doing? Well, come on over. Come on over. It's not hard, man. But we have to stop being lazy, man.
Yeah.
And people who kicked us in the head are not going to go, hey, man, here goes some bandages. Look, tell you what.
They want to continue to kick you in the head.
Right.
Continue to keep you where you at. And in my opinion, that's why you have things in place such as welfare. That's why you have those things in place to say, oh, okay, we want to stop world hunger. Well, yeah, we're going to do that, but we want to keep you hungry because we control the narrative. You're going to eat when I tell you to eat. You're going to eat when I bring it to you. And as long as you give them that control, it'll never get better for you. So you have to figure out a way to take control of your own destiny and truly put your own destiny in your hand and make it happen. And that's where, conversations like this, man, and I'm gonna tell you like this, HRap. Once I get this out to other people that couldn't watch the live, I know my phone is gonna be off the hook saying, "Hey, who is that guy? Well, like, how you know that guy? Like, for real." And I can't say it enough, man. Like, we gotta have you're my elder. You're someone, you and the whole crew on the forecast, the whole crew on, just your different podcasts that you were part of and that you do. Man, I pay attention to it because I'm taking the knowledge that y'all are spilling out and I'm applying it. So yes, you're absolutely right. The Bible is a great tool, but apply it to your everyday life. But also, if you listen to your elders and heed those lessons and apply it to your everyday life, you'll be surprised on some of the things that you can accomplish or some of the things that you will shock other people by.
Man.
I'm telling you.
Let me give you a book to read. It's 2 books. We Shoot Back and that nonviolent stuff will get you killed. The reason I want people to read those 2 books is because it shows that we are not yes a boss, because that's what they think. The world, we've been trained to believe that all we are is what we are now and yes a boss. Hey man, Samuel Jackson, the elder I talked to a couple weeks ago, Mr. Jackson told me that his grandfather regularly shot white people who came on his land. He said, and at one point, he saw these same white people grab his grandfather, throw acid on him.
Oh, yeah.
Rosa Parks, at the beginning of her book, tells this story about when the Klan got riled up. Her grandfather would sit there with a Winchester on his lap and a couple pistols on his lap. And he said, if they come in here, I'm going to kill as many as I can. She said she used to sit at his feet because she did not want to hear about what he did. She wanted to see
it. Yep.
So everybody think Rosa Parks is just this timid woman who I'm just tired. No, Rosa was, as they say, she was about it.
And I mean, shoot, most people don't realize that Malcolm X was the same way. By any means necessary was meant by him. They don't. Yeah, people don't talk about that, about the things that he had to overcome and the people that did come at him wrong. It was repercussions for that.
Consequences of it. Hey, and people always say, well, Elijah Muhammad saved Malcolm X's life. No, Marcus Garvey saved Malcolm X's life because he was a student. Malcolm X's dad and Elijah Muhammad were students under Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey, yep.
See, again, you must learn who you are, where you come from, and your abilities, so you will know that you can't. The man holding me back, that's a joke that I tell. I don't care if I trip over a rock in the street. I'm like, man, the man that threw rocks on the ground. But that's a joke.
Right.
Ain't no man. The man ain't holding us back, man. He's not. He's not.
So let me ask you this. Why do you feel like we're not like within the school system? Because in my opinion, Marcus Garvey, who else was that? Frederick Douglass, those are great ancestors that I feel like it's important for our youth to know about. And they don't learn that at all. They don't, you
teach them that, man.
You get the MLK and you get a tad of Malcolm X. That's
the end of his life. And they lied at the end of his life because the prevailing thought is Malcolm X was cool with white people at the end. No, he wasn't. If you read the book says Malcolm X said, I learned that it was white Muslims. He said, but they didn't weaponize their whiteness. They were Muslims who happened to be white. Over here, white people weaponize their whiteness. That's what he said. But they only tell you, I learned it was white Muslims. The end.
Right.
He changed his stance because he understood he was coming back to America and he had to deal with this stuff.
Right.
And you can't tell people about fact. Look. Would the Nazis tell you about the Nuremberg trials? No, they wouldn't. That's why you ain't learning about. You know how Frederick Douglass got his freedom? He beat the hell out of the dude who owned him.
Yep.
You gonna tell somebody? You gonna tell me, you and Doc that? Now you waking up lumped up.
But I don't know. I just feel like that's a part of our history that's missing, and that's important. And like you said, if we're able to teach each other that or learn that, it's not going to do anything but rise us up, because
that's why they won't tell you.
You take more pride in that.
That's why we got to start. That's why I said at the beginning, we got to start reading to our children. It's going to get on their nerves. Man, do you know how much I hated those damn book reports, man? But when I got older, I was like, I did this 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, having two sisters 5 and 6 years older than me, I knew how to read when I walked into Head Start, because my sister Phyllis had a bunch of pen pals. I'd read that to me. And Phyllis and my old sister Theodora, they're like, I'm not reading. You're going to learn how to do this. So I walked into school knowing how to read. Another reason school was trash to me, because I'm like,
you already got it. Yeah.
I got this. I need something else. Right. So what we got to do, that's why critical race theory is being shot down, and that's a farce in itself, because critical race theory is a class that's taught in law school. So why y'all even talk about it in elementary and high school? It's a law school class. But you must see, this is why we must teach. We must teach, because, hey man, I ain't anti nothing, but guess what? The Nazis are teaching the black Jews.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, you know that poem, we asked these people and we didn't help them, and then they didn't help them, and they didn't help them, then the Jews got it, right? Guess who the first people that were in that those Nazi concentration camps? Us.
Yep. They don't like to point that out, though.
Right.
They really don't.
We've overcome so much nonsense and foolishness. We cannot be taught that, because if you teach people that they are unstoppable, oppression is nothing.
Yeah.
Oppression is dead. That's why you don't learn. That's why you don't learn Frederick Douglass. That's why you don't learn Marcus Garvey. That's why you don't learn Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson, the very educational system that teaches the ancestors of enslavers to be great will teach the ancestors of the enslaved to be belittled.
Yep. And I'm really looking at it too, like even Nat Turner. That's another one that was like, I'm gonna take what I learned and apply it, but what I know is right. And that's, to me, come on, man. How do you not really celebrate that? How do you not really just teach that and push that on our youth and
we have to teach it, though. We cannot put this in school. It's not going to be in school. See, we got to stop saying, they not. I wouldn't teach it. If I was wicked and evil enough to enslave and attempt to enslave people of their humanity, I would not. I would not turn around and teach them about what I've done to them, because if you are you are only as learned as your experiences. Right. And if you know you evil and wicked, if you found out that I was evil and wicked to you, in your mind, I'll be evil and wicked back to you. But history shows you that the people in our community are not evil and wicked. We're artistic, we're creative, we're intelligent. We ain't got time. Right. So we must educate each other. That's why at the start of my show, it's some history. In the middle of my show, it's some history. every week. I used to show some of that, what I call trauma porn. I ain't showing no more lynchings, man. Because we're bigger than the lynchings.
Right.
We're bigger than all that, man. So we have to teach. We have to teach. There is no other way.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man, everybody who's listening, myself included, we going to church. We need to have a African American studies class on Saturdays.
That'll be
enhancing us.
That'll be big. That'll be real big. Real big.
We have to, man. We have to, because when you learn how great you are, nobody can stop you.
Yeah.
Oh man, they tripping. They ain't never gonna do. Look, do you see the Asians complaining? No.
Nope.
No former Asian, Chinese, Japanese, the Arabic communities, the Indian communities. They just do. They do because they know money is the key.
And you know the funny thing about that is that I was talking to someone about that, and they made a point that made me think when they said the reason that we're, meaning African Americans, the reason that we're not treated the same as them is because we don't have a country or a nation that will back us.
Yeah.
And I found that so complex, but also thinking along the lines of, well, you're absolutely right, because Africa is not gonna,
Ghana, 2019, Nigeria. See, we don't even realize the power in what we have. Do you know, it's this dude on YouTube. He packed up and moved to South Africa. And he does these speeches. He comes back and forth. And one of his videos, I learned this. He was like, man, they jokingly say it, but they really mean it. South Africans are disappointed in us that we don't come over there and teach them how to be successful. Because they don't realize. I got a homeboy from Nigeria. He used to date my cousin. Me and him stayed friends. He said he came to America because he thought America was a black country. Because all he did was read the Source, Right On magazine, and those. He said he got over here and realized at first he hated black people because he watched the news. All he saw was black people hurting each other.
Right.
And he hated white people for lying on black people. And then it's an evolution. We must, hey, bro, you can apply, like, the way you can get some security, if we really could just move in one, get a passport, go to one of them countries and apply for dual citizenship. So when they hurt you, the United Nations has to protect you, because not only am I a United States citizen, I'm a citizen of Sierra Leone. I'm a citizen of Botswana. I'm a citizen of New Guinea. So y'all gonna let them hurt me? And we keep separating ourselves. Like the average African American believes that most of the people who were enslaved came here. 45% of the people that were enslaved ended up in South America. Mm-hmm. Only 4% of the people are here.
That's how you have your Haitians, and that's how you have your Jamaicans, and that Caribbean islands. Like that's what it is.
But we keep separating. I'm not them, and they're not us, and that.
Nah.
Look,
yeah, we all
make a friend, just like we became friends.
Yeah,
man, I'm telling you, dude, you blew my mind. You was like, hey, man, you be on Tuesday. Blew my mind. So yeah, man, it's not difficult, and it's more people who feel the way we feel than we believe, man.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that now with the with the podcasts and conversations that I have outside of it. I'm realizing that it's more people that truly want to have more knowledge of self and a better understanding of who they are or what they come from. And I think one of the main things is with the big boom of the Ancestry.com and the Ancestry kit, and you got these people that are like, well, I don't know nothing about Africa. Here's your opportunity to do your study, do your research.
But ways of knowing, man. It's okay, watch this. I'm gonna give you, watch this, check this out. When, like, let's say your parents separate or one of them transitions, your mom and your dad together, show you how we're connected to the continent. The first thing, like, let's say your dad transition, or your dad moves out of state, your mom and your dad no longer together.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it's this man showing up cutting your mama's grass. First thing out your mouth, somebody say, "Who was that, Justin?" Oh, that's my mama's little friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Costa Rica, they call it tica man, or tico man, tica man, woman. Guess what it translates to? Little friend. Another thing, it's just, see, we don't realize that we're still connected because we are not taking the time to learn these things.
Right.
Here's another thing. In Africa, I always forget this word. I got to remember this word. It's this word in African. In West Africa, I think it's Ghana. It translates to "I see you." And guess what it means? Yes, it means exactly, Justin got that new car. I see you, Justin. Justin got them new clothes on. He sharp as a tack. I see you. It translated right over here. They beat us, stripped us of our languages, but we kept hold to those things.
Right.
So we just have to communicate more, and we'll be able to fix things. It starts with one, me and you. Now it's two of us. And then add the forecast. That's 5. And then add my man Big Mo and his cousin DMVJ, and then add Ray to Kevin, Charlotte, and it will continue, the Queens, 3 and Kings, when we will continue to grow. And that's it. We ain't gotta wonder what's gonna happen. We know what happened. You are literally Dr. King, Malcolm X, HRap Brown, Stokely, Kwame Ture, because I don't want to disrespect him. Huey Newton. He down there with you. What's his name? Who helped start Black Panther Party self-defense? Dark skinned brother. He down there in Texas. Professor Bobby Seals.
Bobby Seals? Is he here?
He's a professor in Texas.
And you in Austin?
He's in the state of Texas as a professor.
Okay. Wow, I gotta look that up. I didn't know.
See, wow. This is what I'm saying. We have the tools. We just gotta remove these low vibrating people from our inner circle. Let you low vibrate over there. Hey man, Jesus, again, back to the Bible. Jesus said, "I can't hear from my people." People think, oh, he was talking about the Jews, and he was talking about righteous people.
Mm-hmm.
Righteous people who want to live by the laws of the Lord. If you want to hate, if you want to deceive, you want to destroy and take joy, I need you to go right over there and you keep doing that.
Right.
We over here. So we here, man. Nobody can take that from us, man.
Absolutely.
Nobody can take that. Hey, man, one more thing, and then you can shut it down. And I'm not even going to tell people the answer. Google the original name for Africa. And that alone,
for Africa,
the original name for the continent, that alone helps you. When people listening, Google what's the original name for Africa, and wait to text me when you do it.
Got you. That's you're gonna have.
Don't say anything because I want people to look it up so they can see it.
Got you.
When you see it, you're gonna go, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And that lets you know that we the first people to have a queen. All you brothers out there disrespecting these women, guess what? I'm a king. No, you're not. The sisters on the continent anointed the kings. So right. The sister make you the king. You're just another clown.
Yep. Can't be a king if you don't know how to treat a queen either.
Man, say it again, brother.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, man.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight, man.
Anytime, man.
We definitely gonna rap and do this again.
Please.
Man, you dropped some jewels tonight, and I know I'm gonna go back and watch myself just to pick up on some of the stuff. And for everyone out there, I definitely want you to look up what HRap just said as far as Google the name of the continent of Africa, the original name of the continent, and let us know, definitely. So HRap, just let the people know how they can reach you, how they can contact you, and your other platforms that you do as well. Just go ahead and let them know so we can wrap this thing on up.
You can reach out. Well, you can reach out to me on Twitter, HRap_B, Instagram, HRap_B, on Facebook, Brian D. Williams. Make sure you put the D. Brian Williams is a very common name. It's John Smith. So Brian.
Yeah, you didn't accept my friend request at first. I was like, oh,
you know what?
Dang.
This is what I do with Facebook. No kidding. I post something positive and I walk away. Man, I said this on my show today. July of 2020. I fell victim to the algorithms. I was watching COVID. And you know how in the middle of the night you might stretch or something and you'll lose your breath.
Mm-hmm.
I almost had a panic attack because I thought I had COVID. I thought I wasn't going to be able to breathe. So I had to lay it down. I had to put it down. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, I stay away from it, man, because that's why I add something positive to the universe on my Facebook page every day.
Absolutely. That's something I want to do. I usually, and I got to tell myself to do this more often, because the month of February, I always would go and I did it at work as well. I would post about a Black historian that people do not know about.
Yes.
Typical. I wanted you to actually know and say, wow, I didn't know this. Or wow, I didn't know that. I wanted people to see that. And it's so many of us. It's so many great Black people that honestly, I could do it year round. I don't have to just do it in February. But I'll be the one to take that on. That's my fault. But at the end of the day, the attention is there, and I want to make sure to share that with people as well.
Do it, man. Again, referencing, this is from a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. If you only celebrate your history in 1 month, it ain't worth celebrating.
That part. That's
Carter G. Woodson. So yeah, man. I do the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community, destroy the lies and propaganda around the community. It's on Spreaker.com as well as on YouTube, THAENDOFDABENCH. I do a show tonight on Thursday nights called Rap Sessions, where me, my partner Raider Kev, my partner Charlotte, we just talk about life. Like today, we talked about happiness and what you need to do to add to your happiness and add to others' happiness. Listening, paying attention. Stop looking over your shoulder to see what somebody else has and be glad with what you have.
Right.
And I'm doing this thing called Rapping with HRap, where I have a former high-ranking gang official. He's going to be on my show. I'm going to try to get Frank on. I'm going to try to get Mr. Jackson on. I have people who in my life who used to be former drug addicts, drug dealers, business owners, so forth and so on. I'm going to just have conversations with them so you can understand, so you can look at a dude or a woman and say, hey, I just thought you were in that life. Like my homegirl, she's an elder of mine. And her name is Brenda Meyer. Brenda, according to Brenda, she's the reason they call prostitutes breezies, because that was her nickname and she was a prostitute. She has a docuseries on Showtime where she's driving around streets of Chicago picking up young ladies and stopping them from being in that life.
Wow.
So I want to have conversations about that. And my fun is hip hop. I am a hip hop junkie. And I'm going to do a show and we are going to just talk to I'm going to talk to hip hop fans. And if you listen to my show, you've heard Raz Cass, Master Ace, OC, and others. And I'm going to have them. I'm going to see if I can continue to get those types on there. And I'm going to just have regular people talking about the culture, what they like, what they don't like, and things of that nature. So
I got something for you too with that. I want to see, because I know a couple of cats, and I want to know your opinion on like the younger scene of hip hop. And not necessarily today's type of artists, but they're more like my generation, but they're still active as far as rapping and doing shows and stuff. I know they'll love to have you, sit down, pick their brains or whatever.
Because with the hip hop, what I want to do is get an audience of about 5,000 to 10,000 people, and just say you put out an album. Just imagine we got 10,000 people. I want the supporters to spin it twice. Spin your album twice on iTunes. Spin it twice on Tidal, and spin it twice on Spotify. That's 60,000 spins. 30,000 spins. 60,000 spins. That puts you in the top 100. Then people go, who is this Justin guy?
Right.
And you make more money. We must take over the situations that these algorithms and things of that nature. It's easy to beat them. We just have to get together and beat them.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Hey, man, anytime you want me on, I'm single. I'm here by myself.
Hey,
I would do this every Wednesday, Thursday.
Got you. Definitely.
So, yeah.
Well, with
anytime you need me, I'm here, man.
Yes, sir. With that being said,
don't be surprised if I be your neighbor sometime soon, because this cold. It's 7 degrees. It's 5 degrees. It's dropped 2 degrees since we've been on the podcast.
Oh no!
Don't be shocked if I'm a neighbor.
I'm crying about it being 42 degrees. You talking about negative? Nah.
Boy. I don't even, and then the cold don't even bother me. I don't even zip up my coat. I ain't bought gloves since the 90s. The cold don't bother me. I'm just sick of it, man. My back is slightly hurting from that accident. My lower back is not hurting at all. Thank God.
And see, I got a partner that DJ in Chicago, and he was like, "Man, I gotta get the hell out of here. It's cold."
Hey, like my grandfather used to say, "Boy, it's cold as a hole's heart outside." Yeah, man. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays. You can catch up with me or reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. If you got anything to say, I will have you on my show. If you got a business you celebrate, you want to promote, I will have you on my show. Whatever you're doing, if you just want to talk about life, you can come on my show.
Absolutely. And I definitely make sure people get that information again, man. Once again, I appreciate having you. Appreciate you requesting this, man. And we're going to definitely do this again. And I know CJ was calling my phone because I know for a fact he probably like, yeah, I want to get on with him.
Hey, man. So, I'm there, man. I'm here, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Man.
All right. For everybody else, I want y'all to know I will be changing my time next week. I will be going. I'm moving up 30 minutes. Look at me moving up 30 minutes early. I'll be going on at 7 o'clock to 8 p.m. And I'll try to, depending on how the conversations go, I usually try to keep it within an hour, 30 minutes. But when it's a great conversation, it's a great conversation.
Thank you.
So keep that in mind. But for everyone else, I appreciate you. Let's have a blessed 2022. Make this your year. Make your pain your champagne. And let's enjoy. And
like that.
Everybody out.